Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wicked Art. It's Wicked here, and it is our Digital Wednesday. And today I will be just discussing my process for doing a comic panel for something that I'm working on for someone. Um, yeah, basically what I'm doing is I did all the line layers first, right? And then I inked them in. And what you'll see me doing, it keeps flipping to another page. I'm just sampling the colors I'd already used so I don't have to like try to re-guess them. And then what I did was I separated the foreground lines, the giant earth monster in the middle, and the background itself. And then what I'm doing is I'm on the front lines right now, just all the lines that are in the foreground with all the characters in it, and I am just putting in the color flats. So I am just using colors based off the design that the person had come up with of what they wanted the character to look like, and I'm just filling all those in. I like to do that first, just so I can get an idea overall of what it looks like, and it kind of gives me a sense of what other colors to use to help kind of set the mood for the scene. So this will be like more around like sunset. So what I'm doing is just kind of like I said, filling in those blank colors, and then on the areas that needed to be white, I would just fill those in with a color I'm already using, and then just paint back over it in white. That way I can make sure 100% that that's filled in where it needs to be. I also like to zoom in every now and then because some of the times when I ink, for some reason the brush doesn't like to fill it in all the way, and even when you do a paint bucket, it doesn't really do it, so you have to kind of go in and hit up those spots in those areas. But the other nice part too about having it on a separate layer for everything is, as you can see, I have like the monster turned off right now and some of the background. That way it's not in my way and I can get a good sense of where everything needs to go. And so it just makes it more capable to work much faster. Um, so yeah, just sticking with the color flats. Once you get all those filled in, it's pretty easy from there. You just kind of have to know, like I said, what's going on in your scene. When you get to things like adding in the shadows and stuff like that, but usually it's just easiest, at least for me anyway, to just go ahead and go in and use all the color flats first, and then what that allows you to do is, like I said, get a better understanding or feel for how things are. So, and like I said, you'll see I keep switching the background off. So I'm just kind of going again with the color scheme that was chosen. I mean, if you can't tell, the characters are kind of, you know, um, a mock kind of version of like a Superman and a Batman and a Spider-Man, but like their power sets and abilities and stuff are different. It's just more of a joke of like with them looking similar, so it's not meant to, copy or do anything. It's just more of a, costumes look similar to give that kind of vibe, but it's different in what it's actually used for. Like, for instance, this one that, kind of looks like Batman. It's not. He's got a powered suit that has different energy projections and stuff like that. So, again, just kind of basing everything off of what was discussed and designed and went from there. But the panel layouts are always fun for me. I like doing different things. So like this one in particular is a 2-page spread. So you can see I'm working on the giant earth creature right now. Just going in and filling it with a solid brown color, and then just gonna go in and get different vine and rock textures and things like it was created, out of the earth kind of thing. Um, but I didn't want to go super detailed because we're not like zoomed in, so I felt like I'd cut back a little bit on it and just color in the stone and the vines and the whole body brown, and then put like maybe some variations of shading in there. So I would just get like a soft brush, like where the green vine texture would meet the brown bark, and just kind of not airbrush, but soft brush over that, and it would have it blend in a little bit more. And then I tried seeing if I could do like kind of like a mossy thing, but it just wasn't really looking right. So the next thing I did was just pulled up the background, and again it's kind of at sunset, so I'm kind of going for this gray beige color to kind of help. But since it's all in the background and it's not the main focus, I'm kind of sticking with that kind of traditional, like old. And I guess they still kind of do it today, but I know back in the '90s when I was reading comic books, uh, that's most of their designs in the background would be like that. Would be a little bit of shadow work, a little bit of line work, um, and really just go in there and just have a flat color base with some gradients on it. So I decided to do kind of like a dark gray for the ground level, just to not only have that separation, but to kind of give the idea of it's like the concrete or the road that this thing is walking on or coming out of. So I'm just going in and just filling that in nice and solid with that. Then I just made a separate layer on the very bottom and just called it sky, and just used a gradient tool that comes preset with the kind of orangey pink kind of sunset. So you can see I'm going in now with these panels, kind of I erase the background out some so it's not poking through. Then I just go back to the color layer of the front lines, and then I just make a new layer above that, set it to 50%, and just use a regular brush tool and go around using not only the knowledge of lighting itself to kind of cell shade it in, but also to, like I said, I've said before in my videos, I kind of go based off of also what looks cool. So I'm not always 100% going for like, total accuracy on what the lighting should look like when it's casting shadows. Sometimes it's just for the benefit of what looks good with the image when you back off of it. Now, since these characters in the foreground that are kind of flying or jumping away from the monster, you don't really see a lot of detail in them because they're far away, but I just still have a bad habit of just really going in there and detailing anything up just in case, somebody ever, finds a print of my work and they want to blow it up real big, then you can see all that detail in there. My DPI is outlandishly high on this. It's almost 600 just so I can get the highest clarity and quality as I possibly can. 300 usually works good when you're, settling um, for high quality print. 300 is usually pretty good. Um, but yeah, I'm just going back over like especially those dark inked in areas and kind of giving more of a brushed up edge with the overlaid shadow on there to just kind of help again just kind of sell the shapes and the forms, because really kind of going for more of that, like I said, an older comic book style, maybe along the lines more of I guess you could say like Hellboy, where it's just real heavy on the inking, but then I kind of add in my own style with the cell shading over the top. It's just something that I like to do. It's not necessarily the best way to do it, but again, it was just something we agreed upon that just kind of looked good for what was going on in the image. So yeah, I just going around and filling all those things in. Once I'm done with that, and I'm hitting up these areas first because I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the giant earth monster um, thing that's been summoned. Um, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go super detailed with all the shadows and stuff in there, so I kind of left that for almost last, really. And so now that I'm going in there, I'm kind of going around making a new layer, and I decided to put a gradient and then set that to an overlay at 50%, and it kind of gives this gradient of dark to light with a black and white gradient. And then I'm just going in and just kind of again just adding. I decided to go with more of a basic shadow on there. That way, it's not um, overly detailed. It doesn't need to be because I mean, even though it is the center focus, it's also to give a sense of scale in a way that it's so far away that from the foreground character that we wouldn't really see every minute detail that's in there. So I'm just kind of going through and hitting up more bottom edges and things that like wouldn't get much sunlight to it. Um, and after doing that and going through all the trees and the rocks and the vines and stuff on the body, I thought like, do I really want to go through and do that with every, crease and line work that I put in there to give, a sense of shape to it. So I decided to do that with the fingers. But then when you'll see me get to the arms and the legs, I decided to just go in there and just, so like after I do the toes here, I decided to just kind of go in there and just do a large scale uh, turning of the form. So I wanted to kind of shape the leg. So I would cast this huge shadow over it as opposed to going in every little tiny nook and cranny. Just kind of more just going through and deciding which way to kind of accentuate certain areas so that it would just read, um, like the body has a turned edge to it, so it's not so flat. So I decided to go with a huge, like more cell shading type thing with the monster itself. So I was just highlighting different areas, just like I said, just to kind of get those turns. The inside of the arms, some of the overfolds of the tree bark, and stuff like that. And then, hitting up certain parts of the face too, just to make it stand out more. But again, not trying to go overly detailed with everything. But yeah, once I was done with that, I know since it just kind of was created and started marching through and destroying the town, there was going to be a lot of dust and things that kicked up with it. So what I did was just kind of went in and added some shadows on the ground first. And again, they don't have to be overly detailed, just enough to cause some breakage in it so that it's flat. Because again, that stuff's not my central focus. Um, my central focus is the characters and things going on in the scene, and the rest is just kind of background noise. And sometimes you don't have to. Like if you looked at the other panels, you don't really have to add a lot of detail. You can just have stuff in the background or just a blank white background, maybe all black with a white outline on your character, whatever. You don't have to have details in every single one. It's something you can do, but it's not something you have to do. So then what I did was just decided to go in and just make a new layer above the monster and just call it smoke. That way we get some dust trails and things like that. And I just kept kind of going down the line and darkening certain areas. And then when I got inside the panels, I still wanted that kind of a smoke trail in it. So I decided to just put that over. But yeah, that's about it. That was my process on doing this. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. Remember to keep on sketching. And until next time, I'll see y'all on the next one, okay? Bye.